Hey guys, this is Kevin Smith Jr., your host for the Container Happy Hour. Grab a drink, join us every 2 weeks, and we'll talk containers and future of the market. Alan, my friend, how are you, sir?
Hey, Kevin, long time no see. Only been a couple minutes. Very nice to see you again.
Good to see you, buddy. Cheers to you. Let's talk about what we're drinking first of all.
Well, it's funny you asked that question. There are so many good bourbons to drink too. I have found the one I like the best is called Woodford Reserve. And
Well,
it's
I'm joining you.
Kentucky bourbon. Yes, congratulations. Cheers.
Cheers to you.
And to you as well. Doesn't that taste good?
That's perfect. That's perfect. So you see, I already had some of that here in the bar, which is a good sign.
Good.
And then but I'll admit I had to go track down a Coke as the mixer.
Well, that's never a problem in Atlanta. That's the home of Coca-Cola. You know that.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. What about that setup behind you? That's a pretty beautiful bar setup.
Well, thank you. I mean, it's very interesting. I've had this now for 20 years. And this is a piece of European furniture that was made in Scotland in 1820.
Wow.
If you can imagine, this thing is 200 years old. And it's still
And besides that, it's heavy. You're not moving it anytime soon.
It's doing a good job. But it was a good place to put a bar. So when customers come into your office and sit down, they don't have to ask for a drink. The drink kind of asks for them. You say, what would you like? Would you like the Calumet? Do you want the Woodford Reserve? How about Buffalo Trays? You like Buffalo Trays? But for special occasions, when you come to Atlanta with your lovely wife and family to come visit, I've got a bottle of Pappy 23-year-old.
I like the sound of that.
I'm saving that for a very special occasion. So the invitation has been laid out. The question is when and where.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And we're both in states that are pretty aggressively reopening.
Yes, 3 weeks here in Georgia.
Yeah, and I think we're 1 week behind you guys in Texas. But as everything's going okay, everybody's been healthy and business is still okay around you.
Well, it's funny you say that. Business has been slow for most people because we're a transportation-oriented state. There's a lot of commerce going on here. I mean, the Port of Savannah is probably the fourth largest port in the United States, compared to Oakland and Long Beach and compared to New York, or it's New Jersey or Elizabeth, whatever it is.
Right.
But we're seeing a lot of business, a lot of trucks. Our business hasn't slowed down, and I'm very surprised. I thought with the backup, all the other issues, what has surprised me is the amount of business we're getting from Canada. Because their dollar to our dollar, it's $1.42 to our dollar. So a $50,000 trailer cost them $70,000 Canadian. But yet we're selling more to Canada this year than we ever have in the past. And I asked a guy the other day, what caused that? And he gave me a bit of history. It's always nice when a person from the other country can tell you their side of the story rather than you gussing, This way you don't make mistakes in translation, as they say. He said in 2008, 2009, 2010, when we had the rundown of the company, all the banks failed, we had big problems going on, all the Canadians were selling their good equipment into the U.S. because it was $1.37 to our dollar. Well, they were making 37 cents more in the dollar than they could in Canada. So they sold off all their good equipment. Now the economy has turned around in the last 10 years, and they need equipment. There's no good used equipment anywhere. So all of a sudden, we're seeing people calling that have never called before. Some that have had our trailer since 2008 still have it, still use it, calling for more trailers. So we're very happy to service the Canadian market. We're thrilled. We thank them. In fact, I got 3 calls today from the west coast of Canada, which is like that's another planet, perhaps.
Sure.
Miles away. But yes, we've done a lot of business in Canada this year. Very pleased to do it. Our U.S. business has been excellent. No complaints. So business is up and running. We've got 25 people working at our factory. Nobody has taken a day off. We gave them a 2-day holiday a couple of weeks ago just to catch their breath. And nobody has taken advantage of the unemployment issues and collecting the extra money and staying home. They're all at work working.
That's great. That's a real success.
Well, we have a good factory, good management, very empathetic type people that like the people that work for them. And in return, they get the same back from the workers, which is very good.
Yeah. Well, let's take a quick step back and actually introduce your business for anyone that may not be familiar.
Absolutely.
Um, Talk a little bit about Contral and the basics of the business.
Well, it's very simple. I'd have to go back a little further than Contrail to bring you up to speed as to how I got started. I worked for the Hertz Corporation for many years as a regional manager for upstate New York. And in doing so, I was designing trucks and trailers and tractors for people to use in their business. Oliver North was one of my customers, if you know that name,
Sure.
way back when, up in Pine Plains, New York. And then the Hertz Corporation business got kind of funky, and I didn't like the looks of things for the future. So I went to work for a container leasing company. Imagine that, right? CTI, for those days, all the big red containers with the CTI on the side. And I worked out of a Manhattan office. So I was commuting 2.5 hours each way, going to work in the morning, coming home at night. That got old pretty quick, as you would imagine, right?
Sure.
So after 3 years of being in sales, they sent me to Savannah as a regional manager for the whole Southeast, all the way from Florida up to North Carolina, Kentucky, Tennessee, Georgia, South Carolina, which is fine. It was an opportunity to get out of the New York area and see the real world, so to speak. Well, after 6 years there, the company had a contraction, and they said, "Well, we'd like you to move to Miami." I said, "No, no habla español." They said, "Well, come back." No, 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 I don't want to drive 2.5 hours every day again. That's done. You know, that ship has sailed. So I went into business for myself, and I was doing asset liquidation for leasing companies and steamship lines and banks. But it was containers and chassis. And it was a good market back then because people thought containers back then, Kevin, they were annoyances. Get rid of them. Throw them.
Right.
Give them. Just come get them. So we came and got them basically. And
Right.
myself and a good friend of mine, Ray DeMott from Great Southern, Ray DeMott, I'm sure.
Of course.
We started a business. His father was my depot there in Savannah when I was with CTI. So we started a business called Mobile Storage Solutions. And after 2 years, in a relatively new business, portable storage, we had 350 containers on lease, which was, I'll drink to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I will too. That's getting it. And to go back a second, it's interesting because I always like to see this perspective from people that have been in this a long time. A lot of people in today's market or just entering the associations or let's say in the past decade or less don't realize how containers on the resale side were such a nuisance, an afterthought,
Right,
right?
right. Well, that happened, and it happened very quickly. And I was in supply chain logistics before it became a college course. I worked in between for an aluminum company shipping scrap aluminum to Japan. And one of the things I did at CTI was to build pool operations where we put the surplus containers that came in from Japan into our pool operations so we could ship them back to Japan at relatively low cost by using a guy who's in the scrap business or in the glass business that was moving stuff back to Japan. He would use our containers. We'd give him a credit to take them back. So we didn't have to pay a repositioning cost or have to worry about them getting there. And then when he got back there, we'd give him the credit. Well, that became a very big business. The first year I did it, we did 2,000 containers to Japan
Wow.
and $128 million in scrap aluminum. And the money saving device for us was getting the containers from companies like CTI and ICS, and they would give us $400 in credits to move the containers from the US to Japan. We had to move them anyway, it was full cargo. And I flew down to Mexico City and did a contract with the sales manager down there, vice president of sales. Our cost to move a 40-foot container from the West Coast to Japan was $450. They were getting a $400 rebate from the leasing company. So our total cost to move 40,000 pounds of scrap aluminum was $50. You really can't beat that. That's a pretty good deal.
Tell me
That,
again, what year is this?
that was back in 1987, 88, 89.
Okay.
Like you said, containers were a nuisance, but to some of us, they were a moneymaker. And I started to realize there was value there. But when I saw the opportunity to go into the storage business, we had Hunter Air Force Base right down the road from us. And anytime those officers got shipped overseas, they'd want to put their Camaro or their Mustang someplace safe. So they'd rent a container from us. 75 bucks a month for 6 months, and you weren't have to worry about having to move it because the car was inside. It was going to be there when he came back. So it was a very interesting way to get started in the business. And I did that for 3 years until finally our good friends, William Scotsman, the largest ones in the mobile storage industry now, walked into my office one day in Savannah and said, "Hey, I'm going to buy your company." I said, "Really? You got to be kidding. We were having so much fun. Why would we want to sell?" So, I mean, after 6 months of constant, intense negotiations on their part, and you know how this worked, they finally wrote a check with enough numbers to the left of the decimal point that it made sense to sell.
Right.
But the bad part was, Kevin, I had made this trailer for my company with the chain drive that could easily, quickly, and efficiently unload containers. 5 minutes, you were done. My driver did such a good job of delivering that he came back and said to me, "Mr. Al," he says, "it's so easy to use this trailer. I'll work for you for free." Now that was Friday. I was sending him a paycheck at the same time. One thing kind of wiped out the other. He took the paycheck and he kept using my trailer. So when Scotsman bought the company, they didn't buy the trailer. I said, "Guys, you're kidding me. This is the whole secret to the business. Quick and easy and efficient delivery. Your driver doesn't spend 2 hours trying to get a container into the right location and then have to come back the next day and fix it because it's in the wrong location." Well, they said, "No, not now. Right now, it's 1996. We're only buying storage companies." And that year, they bought 12 of them, all the way from Miami up to North Carolina, including Rick Knuckles and Joe Perez in Miami. And they said, "Maybe next year we'll buy a trailer from you." And Kevin, sure enough, next year came and they showed up and bought one trailer. Today, they've got 329 of my trailers in their system. So from
Unbelievable.
one little seed. But here's the part you're going to like. After the first 3 years, they had about 60 of my trailers in the system. And the lady in charge of purchasing was a very nice woman. Her name was Debbie Didani. So she called me up and says, "Alan, this is Debbie." I said, "Yes, Debbie." She says, "There's one thing you forgot to tell me about your trailer." I says, "Oh my God, what did I forget to tell her? She's going to kill me. She's bigger than me, you know." I said, "Debbie, I don't know. What did I forget to tell you?" She says, "Every driver in every branch that has your trailer never comes to work late, never misses a day's work." I said, "Well, gee, Debbie, if I did that for you, that's great." She said, "Yeah, I want you to know about it." I said, "Well, why does that happen?" She said, "Because if they get to work late, they got to drive the other trailer with the cable. That's too much work." So she said to me, "Drivers love your chain drive." So I took it as my banner, and on my brochure it says, "Drivers love the chain drive." And it makes all the difference in a driver's life if he can get the job done quickly and easily and efficiently without any BS. So that's how we started our company, William Scotsman. In fact, ITEL was my first biggest customer. They purchased 16 from me, Wendy, back in those days.
Yeah.
Mike Baldwin, you know him very well. So
Yeah.
it was a short time to get into the business. It took me 2.5 years to figure out what I want to do. And then when I was in the business, I enjoyed it so much and I was able to help people make their business work quicker and easier and save them money. I expanded it. We started growing and growing. I put all my time and effort into the business. And there are certain highlights that come up. 1996, we built the kitchen for the Olympics here in Atlanta. Now, why would we do that? Because one of our customers was Rental Tools and Equipment, had a couple of our trailers. He says, "Besides trailers, can you build kitchens?" I said, "Well, we don't do kitchens." He says, "Well, I want to think about it. Here's how much money we want to spend. Here's a box of blueprints." So we ended up making 60 40-foot high cubes into kitchens for the Olympics in 1996. Go figure.
Unbelievable.
Well, who would ever think of that, right? And to show you the interesting part, in year 2000, remember when both the zeros are going to flip over in the computers and people were concerned about what was really going to happen?
Of
Well,
course.
the IS&G division of AT&T, which is their mobile repair and maintenance division, came to us, "Hey, we need 6 of your heavy haul trailers." I said, "Well, what's going on? What's the problem?" "Well, we're afraid that when 2000 turns around on the computers aren't going to work or something's going to happen. We have to replace parts. And we want to station heavy haul equipment around the US where it'll be available to locations where they're having a problem." That was on September 15th. Well, they wanted 6 of these trailers by December 23rd. Now, Kevin, you know, every day is a good day, but you can't build a trailer in just 5 weeks or 6 weeks. It takes time, right? I said,
Right.
"I've got 27 trailers to build between now and the end of the year. I can do yours in March or April." It's no, "Mr. Engel, you don't understand. This is a national emergency. We have to have these trailers right away. How much more money can we pay you to get them done quickly?" So I did a quick New York computation, you know, didn't take long to figure that out. I said, "Okay, here's the number. This is good. We'll take it." On that Monday, That was on Monday. They delivered a check to me in person for $500,000. That's how quickly they wanted it done. And we delivered them to him on the 27th of December. They were thrilled to death. They got the trailers in plenty of time to relocate them where they had to be for locations that need them. And then 2006 came along, and Katrina went through New Orleans and just wiped out a lot of people, a lot of lives. And the FEMA people came to me the second day afterwards, the number two guy in the housing in Baltimore. He said, "We need 6 of your trailers." I said, "This sounds familiar. It sounds like AT&T all over, right?"
Right.
He says, "Are you a government contractor?" I said, "No, I'm not." He said, "Well, give me a half hour and you will be." That was on a Thursday. And I got a call from a guy in Puerto Rico who's their solicitor general attorney. He went through the whole thing with me on the computer, and in a half hour, we became a government contractor. On Monday, we got a check for the full amount for the trailers, built them, and delivered them to them. And that was the best things to slice bread. They loved it.
Unbelievable.
It's just amazing. And so I knew right then that we were special because we were in a special industry where people had special needs. So I took special as our watchword. So when people come to me and they want something special, I know they want to be creative. So I try to create with them. We try to give them what they want, not what we want.
Sure.
A lot of companies in this business will build what they want for you as long as it's what they want. We build what you want. And you know that you've had many of our trailers, so you're familiar with that, you know?
I have in a variety of parts of the country, and we've always enjoyed them, and we've always had a great relationship.
That's,
What what trailer do you think you're most proud of? Which model do you think you're most proud of right now in your lineup?
well, it had to be two of them, Kevin, because
Okay.
one is not enough sometimes. We were building specialized gooseneck trailers to go behind pickup trucks starting in 2007, 2008. And it was interesting because nobody else wanted to build them. And if they did, they were lightweight and didn't work very well. In this situation here, we built them to go behind a pickup truck, but they were heavy duty with big frames, big axles, and heavy tires, along with our winch and our pony motor. So we built something that was out of the box new, no one else had. Now you see what's out there today. There's a lot of imitators out there, and they're
Right.
very lightweight trailers. They last about a year to 2 years. Whereas our trailers are in the market 10, 12, and 15 years later. In fact, the fellow from Canada that bought a trailer from me 2 weeks ago, he has one of mine from 2008, using it for 12. It looks like brand new because he took good care of it. In fact,
Yep.
you know Tim Gibson from Bay Container?
Of course.
Tim bought my first trailer in 1996, and he sold it in 2014 for more money than he paid for it. But that's Tim Gibson. Not everybody's that good, you know?
Yeah, yeah. No, not everyone has that gift, but
So
the
that the gooseneck trailer is very popular. And we have a new one that came up, a high-tech trailer. It's our CDU 43. And the advantage of that is it's 43 feet in overall length. Yet you can put two 20s on it or one high cube with no overhang. So when you get into a tight logistics delivery location, you're not trying to look for space. You can just back up, tip the trailer, use the push bar with the chain drive, push it off, and you're done. And
right.
we started making that chair back in 2000. Back then, people weren't concerned about space. They were concerned about how much weight can you put on a trailer. But today, everybody wants an empty container or an office container that weigh 8, 9, 10,000 pounds. It's the perfect vehicle to do that. It's quick, it's easy, it's efficient, got air ride suspension, very simple. So you can level out the box going down the road. And even with a high cube, you won't be over 13.6. You'll be equal to the governing laws you require in each state. So that's our
Right.
most popular trailer right now. In fact, that's one that most people want.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
Next. Now, the other one that's coming online also is our heavy haul trailer. If you've got a loaded container, how do you get off your trailer onto the ground? You either get a big crane to come in, or a heavy big top pick, or what's the alternative? There isn't. But with our heavy haul trailers, we have 35-ton and 50-ton. You can put a 40,000-pound container on there using our chain drive to pull it on and to push it off. So you're no longer limited. You can do what you want to do. You can do any job. You don't have to tell the customer no.
That's a very useful product.
Exactly. Not only that, but not only can you move containers with it, but you can also move heavy equipment. It's made to work for both.
So what do you forecast as far as, you know, changes in our industry, or kind of your crystal ball for the rest of this year, and kind of how your group plays into that overall picture? Do you see anything you want to share about the overall industry?
I think the industry is going to do very well. More and more people are getting interested in containers. It's no longer just something you have to do. It's more fashionable now than it was before. Nobody looks down on people who do containers anymore. They look up to them because it takes skill to deliver. You've got to have imagination to use them. We're delivering to places like North Dakota, Wisconsin, South Dakota. I mean, we never heard from those people before. All of a sudden, they're getting containers in their area. Now they want to move them,
Right.
and nobody else can
Right.
do it. So I think the growth is still going to be in the outlying areas, not so much in the cities and the suburbs, which is very strong already, because there's only so much room you can have to work with there, and the cost to do business in the city is very expensive, taxes and so forth. So I think the outlying areas, I think the border areas of North Dakota, Michigan, uh, wherever you want to go as far as Washington State is concerned, that's where the growth is going to be. The South, where you are, yes. Texas is still very strong. I probably have 150 trailers in Texas alone, one of our biggest areas down there, because everybody wants to be where the action is, and that's 29 million people. That's where the action is.
Yeah, we got a little bit of action here.
Same thing with California. It's going to continue to grow, and people are no longer afraid to take a chance because they can get financing now at very low rates. So they do have some risk, but it's minimized by the business they have to go with it. And a lot of guys are out there. They're not just doing containers. They're doing cars. They're doing trucks. They're doing palletized loads. And with our trailer, with the chain drive, you can load and unload anything you want using that push bar and the chain. So you're not limited, and that's the key. Quick, easy, and efficient, and unlimited. That
Right.
makes your job so much easier. When you send your driver out in the morning, you know he's going to come back with a smile on his face. You don't have to hear the long story about, oh God, you won't believe what happened today, boss.
Right. 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 And looking at
I see for the future growth, not in the next 15 minutes. It's going to be longer term because of what happened with the money. And people don't have a lot of cash to spend right now. But people are still buying trailers, and they're not inexpensive. They're $40,000 and $50,000 trailers, and they're buying them. So if they're not consciously making a decision not to buy, that means they feel comfortable with the future. And let's face it, we're all going to spend tomorrow and the next day. That's our future. So let's grow with what we have, invest in the time we have to work with people that really want to learn and grow. That's why MPSA is so valuable. And what you're doing here is valuable for people to see the interviews and see how people react and what their plans are. We're going to grow more this year than last year, even though it's been a slow year. We're already ahead of last year by 25%.
it's
So I
amazing.
want to see that happen for the next couple of months to stabilize, and just steady growth is fine. We don't want a spike. Spike means a big fall on the other side. You just want
Right.
that 10% incline all the way up to the end of the year. I think that's what you're going to see, Kevin. And I think that you're going to see more and more people get involved in the industry who never thought about it before. Colorado, California, Wisconsin, North Dakota.
Makes sense.
Also, there's a lot of towing companies that are doing the backup work for people like Williams Scotsman and Mobile Mini. They don't have enough drivers, enough trucks. They have to depend upon someone else. They call a towing company, and typically they've got a trailer like ours that can deliver a container. So they're kind of like an outsourced employee, so to speak.
Absolutely.
So
So
I see
looking
good things for the future. Yes, very good things.
if you looked outside of trailers, what part of this industry is the most fascinating to you? Do you really kind of pay attention to rental fleets? Do you pay attention to modified containers being used for construction? What kind of excites you when you go to a conference or when you watch stuff on social media?
Well, there's a lot of things that excite you about this business. To me, it's the fascination of how people move their equipment. When I see people going out and buying equipment, I know it's not going to work because someone told me it was going to, and they showed them a video, and then when they get it, it doesn't work. I wonder, why do you even think you can do that? Why not just go with the basics? We are the basics. You know, we're the bread and butter. We're the tires on the ground, stable type of a trailer. And I wonder why people think there's always a super technical piece of equipment out there that's going to make your job easier. Nothing makes your job easier than working with what you have if you have the right equipment. And what we're seeing today is a lot of growth in the less expensive trailers, and a lot of people coming back 2 years later saying, gee, why did I do this? And I asked him, I said, why didn't you spend that money twice? Buy one good one one time, and you're done. But the dollar sign is the big stopper for a lot of people.
Sure.
That's why you got to have good financing. If you have good credit, you can go ahead and make the challenge and do it. And we have more people that finance trailers now than ever before. The big companies, they just write a check or they send you a wire transfer. But the little guy, he's working hard. He'll take a chance and he'll work harder to make it work and he'll be successful. And he won't be the next William Scotsman, but he'll be somewhere in between.
And do you guys offer in-house financing to these clients?
We have a company called Commercial Fleet Finance out of Dallas. We
Okay.
deal with them. They have good rates. They have a one-page application, and usually it's same-day approval.
Okay.
Nobody wants to sit around for a week waiting for someone to tell you yes or no. You want to get it,
Right. Right.
especially when you got the urge to buy something. You want to buy it now, not a year from now. But
Sure.
yes, to answer all your questions, yes, we have financing which is available. We probably finance one out of every 6 or 7 trailers on average.
Okay.
And the people are happy with CFF, so they keep coming back for more, which is good.
Yeah. Now look in your crystal ball one more time for us today.
I'll take
And
one drink.
do you think we're going to have a conference this fall?
If I had to guess, I'd like to have a conference, but I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't think it's going to happen this year. I think people are still afraid to travel. The airlines are running with 12 to 15% capacity right now.
Right.
I've got neighbors that are Delta pilots and kind of shake their heads when they come home like this might be my last flight. It's kind of sad to see that happen. I would love to have a conference, really would. It's nice to get together and see people and talk, share our interests, meet new people, find out what they're looking for. You can't go to a conference expecting to sell everything you have. If you go to a conference, meet some nice new people and get a chance to talk to them and explain to them how the business operates and they like what they see and what they hear, they'll call you back and you talk about equipment. But in the beginning, it's just the buzzwords: containers, trailers,
Right.
high crew versus this. And a lot of these guys are new and they're very, how would you say, they're rambunctious. They want to get it done quick. And nothing happens quick in this industry. You know that. It takes time, it takes good planning. But I think if all things considered, if the airlines open up travel and if people are not afraid to congregate, we'll have a conference.
Yeah.
We don't, it'll have to be the following year. And maybe a year off won't hurt anybody either.
Yeah. Well, either way, I hope a trip to Atlanta for that Pappy and a visit with you is on the horizon.
And maybe even golf, Kevin. You never can tell. We might do all those things.
I look forward to all of it, buddy. Hey, I really do appreciate you taking the time to do this with us this afternoon.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. Been a pleasure. I'm glad you asked me to even do this. I'm thrilled to do it for you, my friend.
I'm honored. So until we meet again, thank you, sir.
You're welcome,
Cheers.
Kevin. Cheers. All the best. Stay safe.